Right now, you need dependable internet and endless entertainment. Xfinity has you covered with reliably fast speeds and advanced security included with the X-Fi gateway, so your connected devices are protected. And when it comes to TV, Xfinity is your home for all your streaming apps, like Peacock. Plus, get contactless service visits and equipment drop-off. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity for reliable internet and access to your favorite apps right on your TV. To schedule your free contactless delivery, visit Xfinity.com or call 1-800-XFINITY. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the Oh Hell No podcast, where I, Keisha Nicole, delivers a daily dose of passion, purpose, and struggle by interviewing people who are living their best life doing what they love. Here on this podcast, every Oh Hell No moment serves a purpose. Now let's get started with the show. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today I have Jasmine Paul. Welcome, Jasmine.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. So I met Jasmine at PodFest and she was a presenter and I was just so amazed with her presentation. I was like, I have to get this girl on my podcast to talk about her life. So you guys are going to hear her story and find out all of what she does. And I'm just going to let it unfold organically. I'm sorry. I don't like to come out with these introductions that's like listing out all of these things. Like, I'm different. I like to be different.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So first thing with the COVID stuff, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think it's crazy. I think we're all impacted by this, and there's just so many different emotions happening. I'm still working from home, but I'm also working in the office as well. And just it's a lot. Yeah. So I found myself really taking time to pray more and just really checking in on my family. I feel like we have grown so much, both sides of my family and my mom and dad's side, just grown so much in this time of just really comforting one another, being there for each other and lifting each other up, sending crazy videos. And it's fun. It's been good, especially, living alone and being so kind of far away from home. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My mom lives alone, so I try to, make sure that I talk to her when she calls me and, those kinds of things, because I can't imagine being alone. I mean, I would be able to do it, but I know it has to be tougher than when you have like a house full of people that can.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, okay, let's get into it. So Jasmine is a bit of a financial guru. That's what I'm calling you.
I'm a coach. I'm not a guru.
Come on, girl. You got to own this. You a guru.
I appreciate that, Keisha.
So she is a financial coach, and we are going to talk about how she got into this, what she has done with this, and how she's teaching other people and all of that good stuff. So let's kick it off. Tell us, how old were you when you decided that you were going to manage your finances carefully?
I was 22 years old. I had just graduated college and was starting to make, money. Graduated college, had a good paying job or a decent paying job. And this was like the most money I've ever seen. And so I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of money coming into my paycheck or into my bank account. And I wanted to do something different. I felt in college I was not handling my finances very well. I worked 3 jobs, and for some reason I just never really had much to show for it. Gratefully, I never went without, but I did find myself in situations where I was either choosing to pay rent or put food on the table. And so I remember those moments when I turned 22 and was able to get my first job. And I was like, okay, I have to do things differently because I don't want to be in the same situations I was in college.
Okay, I like it. 22 is young, so that's really good. So, what led you to make? First of all, wait, there's a Caribbean connection here, girl. Big up your
There
island,
is.
big up your place. Come
Yes.
on. Where you from?
Shout out to all the Bajans and Trinidadians and the Dominicans.
Wow.
You represent, yes.
You got the whole massive there. You representing for a lot. I always like to big up my Caribbean, people. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what led you to make your first investment, and what was it, and how did you do it? So your first investment, what was that, and how did it happen?
So I'm reading this book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And I think we just have to go back to the why. And so I love that you brought up the Caribbean heritage and my parents, because my parents are from Barbados and Trinidad. I just look at their sacrifices and what they did for me and my brothers and sisters. And, they didn't have to do the things that they did, but they did. And so when I was transitioning, as an adult and realizing, okay, they made all of these sacrifices for me. What can I do to make sure that I continue that legacy on? And so honestly, I was like, okay, I can continue paying rent, or I can find a property and have something to be an investment, something that will last me. If I do keep it for years and years to come, I could pass it down to my children. And so, I remember my family talking about real estate when I was younger, but I didn't really pay attention, honestly. And so I remember in college, there was a guy, one of my friends, he purchased a property across from the college, not the college I was going to, but a college in our area or city. And he purchased this house that was super rundown, just awful, terrible, probably needed to be renovated, but it wasn't. I mean, we were college students, so who cares, right? And he was renting it out to his friends, and they were paying the mortgage. And I was like, what? Like, I'm 19 at the time. I'm like, how in the world are you doing this? Like, this seems so cool. And I was like, wow, our landlords are doing that. Why don't we do it? And so I thought of him, and then I thought of my parents when I bought my first property. So I purchased a single family rental and purchased it, and then immediately got a roommate off of Craigslist to pay rent. And so I would use the money that she paid towards my mortgage, and then I would use the rest of the money to pay off my debt.
Wow. So what would you say was the most challenging thing about investing in real estate?
I wish I could paint this picture. Like, I read all these books and I listened to all these podcasts, and I had a real estate mentor who kind of like groomed me, and that was not it. Like, I was so naive to what was going on. I just had no idea about what I wanted to do. I didn't know the different ways to get into real estate. So you don't necessarily have to buy a rental property. You can do like wholesaling. You could be a realtor. You could be, a lender. You could do a fixer upper and flip it. I had no idea about any of those things. All I knew was the rent in the area was, let's say, $1,200, and the average median price for a mortgage for the type of house that I was looking for was about $760 to $812. So to me, it just made sense. Like, I don't want to pay $1,200. I might as well get this house where I can rent out the rooms and potentially make twice as much in the mortgage by renting out the bedrooms than versus just renting a 1-bedroom apartment.
And so was your base client like college students? Like those are the people you were renting to?
No. So when I was on Craigslist, I just like had this, and so I really used my experiences to really shape kind of my journey. So when I was in college, I ended up living with this like 41-year-old roommate.
Mm-hmm.
I was during that time, Craigslist wasn't like a crazy thing. Like people actually were roommates off of Craigslist. Like you could find really good furniture and whatever off of Craigslist. I feel like now it's like a bunch of scams, and maybe it's not. But
no, girl, it's the
then
the killer is on Craigslist now.
Right?
Yes.
Back then it wasn't, which was like almost a decade ago. And so I went on Craigslist and basically said, I'm a college student looking for a female roommate that's clean, I can pay rent on time, and, you know, I'm really busy, blah, 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 right? And I think I wanted like a furnished place. And a landlord hit me up and was like, hey, I have this spot, it's furnished, it's a townhome. Your roommate would be this woman who is from Taiwan. She's 40, great, quiet, really clean. And I think she sent me pictures, and I was like, okay, cool. And my mom was like, are you sure about this? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, it seems cool. It's in my price range. Like, why not? And literally I signed the lease without seeing the property, and it was the greatest experience ever. I mean, I was there for a year. I wish I would have stayed there the rest of my college time because she was amazing. It was a great situation. Like, you know, I was sharing about how sometimes, you know, paying rent versus food, she would cook meals that were, I mean, she would have like 10 meals because she cooks so much. Mm-hmm. So she would always like invite me to dinner and we would eat together. And it was just so cool just to see someone else's culture and just be embraced by someone who was much older. She just had more wisdom, and it was awesome, a great experience. So I used that experience of Craigslist to kind of find my roommates for the property that I purchased after I graduated college.
Nice. So after you graduated college, how many properties did you purchase?
After, like directly after, was one single family rental. And then I purchased, after that one, 3 years later, I purchased another short-term rental. Nice.
So what keeps you motivated about investing in real estate? Is it something that you will continue to do, or is it something that you've done and you're kind of okay with where you are?
No, I love real estate. I've definitely made the most money in real estate just from, you know, having long-term rentals, doing the short-term rental thing. I've done Airbnb, and it's been a great experience. I mean, I was able to pay off, you know, close to $40,000 in student loan debt. I've been able to really just connect with different people with having roommates. I mean, I'm a single gal, so I don't really need all of the space. So it's been a blessing. I plan on continuing my real estate journey. I'm hoping to go into multifamily units in the near future. Probably not so near, but definitely in the future. I'd like to expand my portfolio.
I was just interviewing this guy, and he just gave me this tip, and he said commercial investments are really good.
That is good. That is real.
Yeah. How do you keep yourself disciplined with your finances? Because it's tough.
It is. But I think I go back to the why, right? And so I just want to share some statistics with you that I was reading a few days ago. And so CNN came out with an article that said that millennials are not on track to be the first generation. They're going to be the first generation to not exceed their parents in terms of job status or income. And so, you know, I go back to the why. I go back to, you know, those Caribbean roots and my parents and all the different sacrifices that they've done for me. And I really think about, okay, when it comes to money, is this purchase or is this investment, whether it's an investment in like going out to eat, or maybe it's an investment of a trip, is this investment, how is this going to positively impact future Jasmine? I always look at that, any type of purchase I make. And it's almost kind of like annoying because I do that. Like, okay, I'll go on Amazon real quick. Like, oh, I found something really cute. And then I have that moment of, okay, why are you making this purchase? Because you have goals. There are certain financial goals that I'm trying to obtain. And so maybe that purchase, that instant gratification, is now going to take me a lot longer to get to my goal. So I always go back to my why. I'm so grateful for my parents. I'm definitely grateful for my faith. And I really think that, you know, we take this time to go to college. Some of us go to master's program, grad school. Some of us even become doctors. And we have these really great jobs. And unfortunately, many of us are living paycheck to paycheck. And to me, I don't want to work that hard forever. And I know if I take these sacrifices now, that I won't have to work that hard in the future. Or prayerfully, I won't. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's a great way to think and live. And I wish I could be that disciplined.
You can be. You absolutely can be.
Oh my God.
You can.
So how are you teaching others to do what you do?
Absolutely. So back in 2014, when I paid off my student loan debt, I started teaching my friends how to pay off their debt and really save and beef up their emergency savings. And so I would just basically lay out, you know, a plan for them, and we just strategize on just being creative. So while I was doing real estate, and house hacking is what they call it in the real estate investing world. So while I had roommates living in my house, I was also being creative with my finances. So I was blogging for personal finance experts. I was purging a lot of my furniture on eBay and Craigslist. And so I was doing everything that I could aggressively and creatively to pay off the debt. So I started strategizing with my friends. The strategies were working. The plans that we would draft up were working. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Now go share it with your friends, tell your friends, because I want people to get out of debt, right? And so they started sharing it with their friends, and then they were coming to me, and I was like, okay, all right, that's cool. So I started just sharing even more and sharing my story, being really transparent about being able to pay off, almost $40,000 by the time I was 24. And I remember, a friend saying, hey, you really should think about this being a business, and because people are always coming to you. And I was like, okay, maybe, I have a master's in entrepreneurship. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. I just never really thought of it as a business. I just really love to help people. And so I started Create FinStew, which we are transforming finances creatively. And we're on a mission to transform 10,000 wallets, one heart, one mind, $1 at a time. And so it's just been a real blessing just to be able to have the light bulb go off in people's minds, like, okay, I can do this, and it's very attainable.
Yeah, I love that. So with all these financial blogs and podcasts and all these people doing the same sorts of things, what is your message, and how do you stay true to your mission?
Absolutely. So my message is financial stewardship, just being good stewards over the things that God has blessed you with. And I applaud all of the different financial gurus, financial coaches, the personal finance strategists. I applaud them because they're on a mission to help people make better financial decisions. And those decisions are then going to positively impact their legacy, their family, and their family after that. And so I'm grateful. I was, I said I was blogging for personal finance experts. So I'm grateful that they kind of created that space for me to blog for them, to really share my journey. So I was blogging about my journey of getting out of financial debt and staying out of it. I was talking about how finances are so tied to your mental health, and how we just have to be really careful and mindful about our behaviors. and not to beat ourselves up so much about not understanding. Because if you've had behaviors, for the last 20 something years, and now you take a financial literacy course for the first time for maybe an hour, you have 20 something years of, this way of thinking. And yes, you took this financial literacy course. It's amazing, but don't beat yourself up if you don't get it, or if the budget doesn't adjust well, or maybe you overspent on a line item. That's okay. I pray that you have grace over yourself and your finances, because it's all a journey. Like, even with my own finances, I'm constantly analyzing and seeing, okay, what could I have done different? And then how can I do better in the future? Because it's a lifelong journey, and things happen, life happens, things that you weren't expecting happen. You might have like a birthday that comes up and it's like you didn't even think about it. Maybe it's a new friend or whatever. Something always happens. And so we just have to be flexible in our budgets, but also flexible in our lives, to be okay with things happening. But how do we react to the things that are happening?
So what do you splurge on?
Investing in my business. I definitely splurge on just wanting to do more for the business and to be more effective. And I want to learn so much. And so I'm constantly reading books, constantly in a course or a conference, just wanting to know more. I'm more selective now than I used to be. I was like, I got to read every book and all this. And it was like, okay, you have to be very selective.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has good information. And sometimes you really don't need to read the book.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
I really love to learn, but
it can be overwhelming. Like,
absolutely.
I don't have time to read a book. Like, I swear I don't. Like, if I'm doing
get an audio book.
No, I really don't. If I'm doing an interview and it's with an author, I'll read their book, because I need to do it for the interview. If there are tons of books that I did get Audible, and I got all these books that I want to listen to, but I just cannot find the time. I work full time. I got a kid. I got a husband. I got 2 side hustles. Girl,
you got a lot going on.
Yeah. That's
real. I read in the shower though. Like, I'll put the audio book on and I'll have I got this what is it? It's like not MP3 player, but it's a speaker, and waterproof. And so I just stuck that thing in the shower, and
Nice.
I turn on like an audiobook or a podcast, and I just listen to it in the shower.
The only thing with that is I feel like we are constantly consuming information, and then
that's good.
And then at some point, it's like you can't even remember what you remember bits and pieces of it, and you're like, oh, I read this thing, or did I see it on TV, or was it a blog, or was it a meme? I don't know what it was, but this is what I saw. I can't remember it exactly, but it went something like this. Like, I find myself being like that, right? Because we take in so much information. It's like, I don't know, but then I hear all of these people who are successful talk about reading all of these books that changed their lives and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, damn, that'll never be me, because...
It will be you. You'll be successful in your own right.
No, I mean, like, I won't say, I read this book. Or if the question is, what book did you read that changed your life? I'll be like, yeah. I'll be maybe like, this person I spoke to changed my life, or you know what I mean? Or this podcast I heard.
No,
but
real.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, that's real. I agree.
Yeah.
I guess I'm like that in some respect. Because people always ask me about like the real estate investing and, buying my first property. And they're like, well, what book did you read? And I was like, I think I read Real Estate for Dummies, but I definitely didn't finish it. I maybe got through like 2 chapters. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, that'll never be a question on my podcast, people. So if you want to hear about good books, don't come here, because you ain't going to get that.
Don't come here. I love it.
Oh, God.
funny.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So what do you think people waste the most money on?
Probably cars and things to impress other people.
Mm.
And and it might not be like of course you didn't like buy those shoes to impress other people. Maybe it is to like look good. But I mean, who doesn't want a photo of themselves in Louboutins with the red bottoms? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
of course, because they're cute. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've wanted them for a very long time.
They're
but then
very
I'm like,
uncomfortable. Okay. Save your money. It's not worth it.
I've heard that they are very uncomfortable. I've seen so many reviews of like the Kate or the
girl. I don't know. I have one pair, and they are very
and they're comfortable.
Uncomfortable. And I would never tell anybody to buy that. No, seriously. I just like I hardly wear them. My husband gets so mad at me because he bought them for me. I did not buy them, and I just yeah, they're uncomfortable. Like I don't. So I discourage. Don't buy me expensive shoes. Like he bought me another pair of really expensive shoes for a big birthday that I had, and they are even more uncomfortable than the red bottoms. So I never wear these because I can't even get out of the house with them on. I'm like, I need a wheelchair.
That's how bad they are?
Yes. I don't know why they hurt my feet so bad, but I see all of these girls, you know, on TV. And let me tell you, it was a vanity thing. Like I would see these shoes on, you know, people in the magazines or on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, they look so nice. Their foot looks so good in it. I want those shoes because I want to look so fabulous. And I told my husband I wanted them, and he surprised me with them for a big birthday. And I wish I would have kept my damn mouth shut. Okay? Because that money, I really could have used it on something much more, you know, I don't know, just something that was worth it. I feel so bad because they just sit in my closet.
That was like your no moment.
Yeah, that was definitely an oh hell no moment. So from now on, I do not buy really expensive shoes like that. I buy decently priced shoes because you want them to last.
Exactly, absolutely.
But
there's a difference in investing in like cheap things because they usually don't last. And so I definitely spend money on clothes to a certain extent. I have like I had to hire a personal stylist because I just was all over the place. Like I was going, I'm in a doctoral program and I was going for my intensive and I was like, oh my God, I don't have anything to wear. And so she helped me. She got me right. But just being able to invest in key pieces that are going to last for you know, years and years. That's for me. I'll invest money in that. I love to travel, so I do spend money on travel. However, I was living last year in Asia, and it was very inexpensive to travel. But I enjoy traveling, and I try to, especially when I was living in Asia, I always tried a massage every Asian country I went to, and it was amazing. They need to bring those massage therapists here because it's like no other.
Well, I'm glad that you allow yourself to indulge because saving money and being smart about your finances is very important, but living and enjoying life is also very important.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that I have seen save up all of their money and say, oh, I'm going to do this when I retire. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to that nice restaurant or take that trip. And then they die right before they're retiring, or they retire and then they die shortly after. And all that money goes to family or whoever is, you know what I mean? So I feel like there has to be a balance, and it can't just be about saving for a rainy day that might never come.
Right.
So
I think that's, you know, why I manage my finances. I try to incorporate those big trips, you know, that fancy dinner. It helps me with just self-care. You know, you want to take care of yourself, and so having flexibility in the budget And just knowing, okay, I'm putting this money towards X is very important to me. And you're right. You definitely have to live your life. I'm not the person that drives a fancy car just because I'm like clumsy, so I shouldn't drive a fancy car. I'll be upset that I, ran over the curb and then my tires and rims are all scraped up, so I know me. And so that's not for me. But, I definitely do invest in certain things that I enjoy, but I'm also very mindful about making sure that there is money allocated to my actual investments. So like my mutual funds, my stocks, the 401k, and then also money is allocated to my savings. And so then the money afterwards, I'm making sure, of course, living expenses, but also those special things that I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does success look like to you?
Oh, I love this question. This is such a good question. I actually wrote this in my book. Success to me is being able to serve others, identify and walk my life out like Christ did, and having a family that is loving, caring, that is serving, but also that is able to leave a legacy after we go away.
Nice. And when you say leave a legacy, what kind of legacy are you hoping to leave behind?
Absolutely. So, of course, financially, I hope to leave a legacy, but I also want to leave a legacy of young people who are loving and mindful of their health, mindful of their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health, but that are willing to serve people like no other. That's something that my parents, of course, I guess ingrained in me is to always give back as much as you can, because that's something that you can't really put a price on, is just giving towards people. And so that's, for me, that's the legacy that I want to leave behind, is that those kids, those grandkids, those great grandkids are just young people who are so fired up to serve others. So much so that they're selfless. They're not really thinking about themselves. Of course, I want them to think about themselves, but I really want them to just be able to serve in the best capacity. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about financial stewardship, because once you get into a place where you're not really thinking about money, then you're really able to target and focus on the giving, focus on the servitude, focus on the things that you want to do. Maybe that's fishing, maybe that's getting into baking. When you don't have to worry about debt and you have a budget and the money is there, you have your emergency savings, you have money going to your investments, you can then get back to the things that you were purposed for, that you were put on this earth to do.
Yeah, that is great. I hope one day I can get to that place. I'm trying to get there too.
You will, yes, with the side hustles. You will.
Yes.
We're claiming that.
Yes, we will get there. I will be financially free.
Yes, but you have to speak it, right?
Yeah.
I think so often we get into this place of, oh, I'm broke, or I don't have it like that. But we have to speak financial freedom into our lives. Like, we can't just wait until we pay down the last student loan debt or we pay off the credit card. We have to say right now, I am financially free. I can be successful with my finances. I am good with my money, because now we're restructuring the brain and we're just programming to the brain to think, oh, wait, she is good with money, or he is good with money. Wait, it's not, she's broke. She can handle her finances. And I think so often we've just been so programmed to be like, oh, no, I don't have it like that, or no, I can't afford that. And it's not true. Like, did you actually, do the cost savings? Did you do a cost benefit analysis? Like, why can't you afford this? Or is it because you're just so used to, well, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to go there. But you can afford it. I mean, what's your favorite, I don't know, do you eat out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
What's like your favorite thing to eat? Like, no kidding, you will eat this all the time.
I do like Asian cuisine.
Okay. So you will like the Asian cuisine all the time?
Yeah, I could, because it's the one thing that doesn't make my stomach hurt. Or
Okay.
you can go light, you can go heavy. Besides, I don't want to be like so, I don't want to say Jamaican food, because that's just so like, right? Because that's my family's Jamaican. So I'm going to say Asian food.
So how many times would you say a month you would have Asian food? If you could like do it, how many times a month would you have it?
Well, at least probably maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So let's say I might have some sushi or something for lunch, and then maybe on a Friday or Saturday I might go out and have like, a dinner at a nicer restaurant, so maybe like 8 times for the month.
Okay. So like 15, we'll say it's about like $15, right? Per meal.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not expensive.
So 15 times 8, that's $120 a month on just Asian cuisine, right? 120 times 12 is $1,440 for the year. So I think if when we start breaking down what is quote unquote expensive, we need to break it down in those little bitty chunks, like the month. Okay, how many times a week am I doing this? Okay, for the month, how many times am I doing this? And then for the year, because I don't know, I ran into someone, I was talking to them about hiring a housekeeper last year in Asia, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive, you're so bougie. And I was like, wait, pause, time out, please stop. Please stop putting your limiting bias on your finances. Stop projecting that onto me.
Right.
I said the housekeeper was $80 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So $80 every 2 weeks, that's $160, right? So for the month. So if I'm able to get back my Saturday, because now I no longer have to clean, I don't have to fold the laundry, I don't have to do the dishes, I don't have to, dust, I don't have to wipe the baseboards down. And Keisha, like our parents are Caribbean, so like in the house every Saturday we were cleaning starting at 4 a.m. and they did not stop. Yep. Like, and you had to wipe down everything. Like there was no, you just dust here and there. Like they really clean. Like my mom to this day is like that. You know what I mean? So it would take a lot of energy out of me. Yeah. I was working a full-time job. I was in school, trying to do ministry. I was doing the podcast, writing my book. It was a lot. And so hiring that maid or the housekeeping cleaning service was the opportunity for me now to get my Saturdays back. And so that investment of $160 a month gave me my time back. And so now I have time now to focus more on the podcast or focus more on finishing the book. And so I really think that we need to stop saying, okay, we can't afford it, but really, really take out pen and paper and write down what is it that I quote unquote can't afford? Because you might be able to afford some things. Maybe that's restructuring the budget, if you have one, to now insert, a line item for whatever thing that you desire. And maybe you have to take something away. I know when I incorporated the housekeeper, I took something out of my budget. So I did sacrifice something, but it was helpful for me to come to a clean home on a Friday after I just finished working this long week, and for me to relax and watch Netflix, and not have to worry about, on Saturday morning now I have to clean.
Yeah. I too made that investment, and it has really been a major help to me, and I miss my ladies so much. Thanks to COVID.
I'm sorry.
COVID is messing up my life right now.
So how did that investment, what would you say about it? Like, how has it helped you?
I would say it has helped me with giving me back time. Time is something we cannot get back, and that is very valuable, right? So if you have more time to invest in other areas that could possibly grow and then turn into some type of stream of income, that's better. And that's what the things that I'm working towards. So just having someone come and take the pressure off of me for, with doing that, it was just major. It was good for my mental health. It gave me time back to put more energy and time into the things that I'm trying to build. And, I guess too, me not complaining so much about being so tired because I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. So it was a win-win all the way around.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's, when I walk through with my clients, we go through different exercises to really get out of this probably might not work for me, because you saw for you, it's helped you not just with getting the things that you need to get done, but it's also helped your mental health, which I'm sure is not just helpful for you, but it's also helpful for your kids, for your husband. Like it's all around good. And so that's definitely something that I try to really encourage my clients just to think differently.
Yeah, and there are different ways that you can do it. If maybe you can't afford to get your whole house clean, but there are ways that you can do. Someone will come and just do the bathrooms, and it'll cost a fraction of the. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
you just gotta, like you said, look at what you can do and figure it out. Where there's a will, there's a way. So
absolutely,
I love that you encourage that. That's great.
Yes.
So tell us about your book. Is your book done? Are you still working on it? What is the book about? What prompted you to write this book?
Yes. So Set Your Truth Free, a 20-something's guide to living a truthful life, was launched on February 29th of this year. I'm super excited to finally finish it. I was working on it for 7 years.
Wow.
And yeah, too long. There's a lot of procrastination in there. It was honestly because I was not hiring my weaknesses. I was trying to do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote the book because when I was in college, I felt like I didn't have a resource or a guide to really help me through the challenging moments of college. And one of those things was my finances. I found myself in a not so good predicament because I mishandled my money and mismanaged my money. And I share that experience in there, but I also share what I wish somebody told me. So instead of us, going out to eat to the really live Mexican restaurant or the really live sushi place, we could have done potlucks where we just were in the house chilling and somebody would bring in, the different ingredients. And so we could kind of offset some of the costs versus just going out to eat. There are certain things like a refund check, just talking with my friends about, the importance of self-care and really like getting a therapist. I wish I would have known in my earlier 20s that I needed a therapist instead of waiting, to my kind of mid 20s finding a therapist. And shout out to the ex-boyfriend for that. He was like, yo, you need to go see a therapist. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm good. I needed to see a therapist, Keisha. Like,
that's good.
Yeah. Praise God for the therapist. She uncovered so much. I'm grateful. Yes, if you don't go to therapy, please go to therapy. For everybody that's listening, just go. It's so necessary. And so I just share things that I wish I knew, things that I wish people talk to me about instead of, I guess, kind of having my own journey. But then when I wrap up the book, I share maybe, my journey was for you to experience so that you don't have to make those same mistakes.
Love it. So I'm going to ask you to share advice with our listeners who have just gotten their first great paying job and they're venturing into the lands of adulting. What would you tell them to be mindful of?
Be mindful of your spending and the lifestyle that you are growing or expanding, because it's really hard to keep up with that lifestyle as you get older as you take on different responsibilities. Those responsibilities could be getting married, it could be having a child, it could be moving to another city, it could be taking care of a parent. And so just be mindful of your lifestyle, because that really impacts your wealth and being able to generate wealth throughout your lifetime. So definitely being mindful. For the first, I want to say, 6 years of me graduating college, I really lived like I was in college. I still kind of do to this day. I don't do, of course, I have different splurges that I enjoy, but for the most part, I try to keep that same lifestyle. So even with my promotions, I never really looked at the promotion. I would always kind of put that money towards savings or to my investments, because I just didn't want to keep up with the lifestyle as I promoted.
Nice. And for the adulters who have been adulting for a while and are kind of trying to get their finances together, what advice would you give them as a place to start?
It would be two things. So the first one would be take an honest assessment of why you haven't looked at your finances. Really go into the why. So if you worked really hard to get a degree, to finish the degree, to get all these different certifications or licenses, and now you have this really great job, really take inventory of, why am I allowing this paycheck to just slip from my hands every single time I get paid? I think that's a real question that we have to ask ourselves. We work so hard. Why are we not taking the time to really understand the importance of this paycheck, but also why are we just kind of allowing it to loosely go out of our bank accounts, or running up a credit card? Just having that honest assessment of what's going on. And then the second thing I would recommend is writing out your last 3 months of expenses and taking an honest assessment of what those 3 months of expenses look like. And so with COVID-19, of course, things have changed, right? So we're probably not going out as much. We are probably staying indoors. A lot of us are cooking. I see on my Instagram, and I know for me personally, the dishes keep piling up, right?
Yes.
So it's a lot of dishes.
Yeah.
Like, can I just get somebody to wash my dishes?
I know. My friend said to me,
inside.
I know, my friend said to me, no, my friend said to me yesterday, if she could get a paper pot, she would use it. I was like, you know what? I'm done with you.
That's real.
Yes.
She might be onto something.
Right.
Like, maybe not so paper, sick. But something that you could just throw away.
Right.
That's real. Like, I think one of my friends was like, yeah, I just got a whole bunch of paper plates and napkins and plasticware.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's a lot. Like I guess I'm just so used to like Friday, at the end of the week, I probably like have a few dishes, nothing crazy, but it's like every day there are dishes just piling up, and I try to wash them, as soon as I can. Like I try not to let them wait and sit, but it's like every day the whole sink is full, and it's just me. I don't understand. Maybe I need to stop eating. I don't know. I don't know. But so yes. So have that honest assessment of your expenses. Look at your last 3 months. Look at the trends. I take out highlighters and I really dedicate this time to really studying what my finances look like. What was going on during this time? There was recently I had like a spike in my finances with travel, and I was like, what? Like, why did I spend so much money this month? And it was because I was traveling, going to different conferences where, I met you at PodFest. And so I was able to see, okay, this is why your going out bill was maybe a little higher than normal, because you were on the road, you were eating out. And so be able to kind of write your financial narrative, and paint the story. And if you're not sure where your expenses are going, then you really need to have an honest conversation with, why is my money just kind of going out of my hands and into businesses that are great. Like, we want you to support businesses, but we also need to make sure that we're sustaining the finances that we were given.
Absolutely. So I want you to share an oh hell no moment with us that has taught you something or changed your perspective on something.
Definitely when I called the student loan service provider company back when I was when I had just graduated, and them telling me it was going to take like almost double the time that it took me to get the student loan, like debt. So, I had graduated in about 3.5 years, and they said it was going to take me like 7 years to pay off. And I was like, nah. That was like, right. Nah. We're not about to do that.
Right.
And it really changed my perspective, because it was like, wow, like, I'm grateful that I was able to get my education. I'm thankful, I have this degree. But it was also like, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be in this bondage for the next 7 or 8 years, or however many long years it was going to be. I was like, nah, like, we're not about to do this. And so I'm grateful I had that moment. I'm grateful I actually called the company to figure out, what the future looked like, because it really kind of kicked me in the butt to start making these decisions, buying the property, doing the house hacking, being really creative with my finances, doing blogging, writing my journey down, and then ultimately being able to pay the debt off in a fraction of the time that they told me it was going to take. And so, that's my moment where I was just like, oh, they got it twisted. Like, y'all think I'm stupid out here. Like, I am not dumb.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad that you got yourself motivated, and you are now motivating others to, go ahead and look at their finances and make that change. That is amazing what you're doing, and I applaud you, girl.
Thank you. I applaud you. I love everything that you're doing with the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Just your family, your listeners. Like, I was tuning in, and I was like, I should be a part. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was a pleasure having you on, and I'm sure that people will get a lot of beneficial information from this podcast, because sometimes you just hear something and it just changes something in you to do something, take action, right? So
Right.
I challenge you people to do what Jasmine said and analyze your finances and just start paying closer attention. And now is the perfect time, because we're home, we're spending less. Look at where your money is going at this very moment, right?
Absolutely.
So, Jasmine, please tell everyone where they can keep up with you, buy your book, listen to your podcast, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. If you want to connect with me, the best way to connect is via Instagram. And I am at Jasmine, Jasmine, like Like, Paul, Paul. So definitely, if you learned something, or you had a question, or you just want me to go into a little bit more detail, that's definitely the best way to connect with me. If you're interested in Create Fin Stew, we are at www.create, CreateFinstew.com. And so we have a few resources out there. We have some people that have really transformed their lives through the course, the different curriculum that we have. So definitely available if you want to get on a call and just talk about money, talk about why money wasn't working for you, or talk about how money is working for you. We want to know, because we're truly on a mission to transform 10,000 wallets, one heart, one mind, and $1 at a time. And then lastly, Set Your Truth Free, a 20-somethings Guide to Living a Truth-Filled Life is available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and where books are available. And then finally, the Find and Sustain podcast is available where podcasts are available: Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we are on Instagram at Find and Sustain. That's FINDANDSUSTAIN.
Perfect.
How do I feel when my website and applications come under attack? Thanks to Neustar Security, I feel confident.
Their full ultra-secure suite of always-on cloud security services enables me to be confident that our website will always be available to our customers whenever they need it.
Neustar Security does more than ensure my company's online presence is ultra secure. It ensures my peace of mind. Neustar Security, always on, ultra secure.
Right now, you need dependable internet and endless entertainment. Xfinity has you covered with reliably fast speeds and advanced security included with the X5 gateway, so your connected devices are protected. And when it comes to TV, Xfinity is your home for all your streaming apps, like Peacock. Plus, get contactless service visits and equipment drop-off. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity for reliable internet and access to your favorite apps right on your TV. To schedule your free contactless delivery, visit Xfinity.com or call 1-800-XFINITY. Restrictions apply.